This is going to be fun because I'm just going to give you 20 signs that your digestion is not working correctly, and some of them are absolutely going to freak you out. Like, that's a sign of not digesting correctly, and you really want to know if your digestion isn't working correctly. That means that the food that you're putting in your body to nourish your body, instead of giving your body the nourishment that it needs, you're giving your body a problem and a burden that it has to deal with because the food is not being broken down properly so that you can pull all the nutrients out of that food. So this can be a very big deal. And to understand this, we have to understand both sides of digestion. So this list of 20 things can mean that one or both of these sides of digestion can create these problems. So when we eat food, our stomachs make hydrochloric acid, or HCl, and that HCl is meant to help us acidify that food and break it down. And then once that acidified food leaves your stomach, it goes into the duodenum, which is the first 10 inches of the small intestine. And that's where the gallbladder will squirt this alkaline bile down to meet that acidic product that left the stomach. So what happens is these two pHs of opposite calibers meet each other, and it creates this sizzle. And that sizzle is what really helps us bust that food apart and pull all the nutrients out of that food. So the problem is, it's really common for someone not to be making enough stomach acid, and it's really common for someone's bile to become too thick and sticky so it doesn't flow correctly. So if either of those sides of digestion are not working correctly, you don't get that sizzle and you don't really digest your food the way that you should. And a lot of people have both sides of digestion not working correctly. So what I'm going to do here today is I'm just going to rip through these 20 signs of poor digestion, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail in them because under the link in the description, we have links to every one of these topics, either a video or a podcast where we've really dug into this. So I'm just going to rip through these so you can see these signs. Let's jump in.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
Now, just keep in mind with all of these things that I'm going to list here, most of them have other possible underlying causes beyond digestion not working correctly. But for most of them, improper digestion seems to be the most common cause that creates these issues. So just know that you'll be able to find out more information about any of these things and other underlying causes by just going down in the description below the video and looking at the other videos where we dig deeper into each topic. Okay, here's sign number 1. Any digestive symptoms at all, whether it's burping or bloating or constipation or diarrhea or nausea or indigestion. I mean, indigestion, it says it right there in the name, indigestion. You're not digesting. That should give us a clue. And acid reflux. Yes, acid reflux is a digestive symptom of not having enough stomach acid. It's not caused by too much stomach acid like advertisers tell us. It is a digestive symptom. So now I just lumped all those into one possible sign. Those are the obvious ones. So we want to dig deeper into other things that people might not know. Sign number 2 is acne or skin issues. This is usually caused by bile not flowing correctly, so all these toxins are not being taken out of the body, and the body wants to push them out through the skin. Sign number 3 is low blood pressure. So if you look at your blood pressure and that systolic number is lower than 112, the systolic number is that top number, that's a really strong sign that you're not breaking down your food and pulling all the minerals out of that food, because the minerals can thicken up that blood and raise our blood pressure. So if your blood pressure is really low, it's really a strong sign that digestion is not working correctly. But here's a freaky thing. Number 4 is high blood pressure. So the most common cause of high blood pressure, and there's a variety of causes, but the most common is poor bile flow and all of these toxins accumulating in the blood, thickening up that blood, and now it's like pancake syrup that the system's trying to push through the blood. It's this thick gook, and it raises the pressure needed to push through there. Sign number 5 is seeing undigested food in your stool. Hello? If you're seeing stuff that's not digested, that should be a pretty good sign that you're not really digesting correctly. Number 6 is cravings, especially carb and sugar cravings. When somebody's really having cravings, it's usually because the body's not getting the nutrients that it needs because the person doesn't have the ability to really break that food down. So when it's not getting the nutrients it needs, it'll scream for these simple sugars that it can just use as fuel. Hey, I don't really need to digest that. Give me that toaster pastry. I could turn that into fuel right away. And the next sign is mental or emotional issues. Now there's other causes of this, of course, but a lot of mental and emotional issues like depression and anxiety and bipolar issues, a lot of those are caused by a lack of resources and a lack of minerals. And those minerals are needed to send signals from the body to the brain and the brain back to the body. And when they're not there, the mental and emotional issues are a big time result. Number 8 is osteoporosis. Yeah, osteopenia, all that kind of stuff is often a sign of the body kind of mining itself for nutrients because the nutrients are not coming in from the food that we're eating. With an inability to break that food down and the body can't get nutrients, it's like, hey, I'll shop for it myself. I'll get it on my own. Which brings us to the next sign, which is leg or foot cramps, those Charlie horse things. A lot of times that's also an issue of the body just mining for nutrients, pulling them out of those tissues, and then all the minerals come out of those tissues can't relax and they cramp up and we get those Charlie horses. They're not fun. It's like somebody sticking a car battery on your leg. You don't like that. Number 10 is chronic fatigue. How are you going to have any energy if you can't digest your food correctly? So a lot of times poor digestion is a root of these chronic fatigue issues. The next one is menstrual cramps. Menstrual cramps is similar to those Charlie horse situations, that when someone has severe menstrual cramps, it's often that they don't have enough calcium at that tissue level because it's all being pulled out just to help the body function and get through the day. When we can break our food down correctly and pull the minerals out, all the minerals go to the right place and the menstrual cramps are not so bad. Number 12 is vertigo or dizzy spells. A lot of times there's just not enough minerals for those signals to travel correctly, and that can result in those dizzy situations. Sign number 13 is early menopause, and number 14 is irregular periods. This is all about that reproductive menstrual cycle not working correctly, because to make this baby, to create this other human, takes a lot of nutrients and resources. So when not enough nutrients and resources are coming into the system because the person can't digest their food correctly, Mother Nature will kind of turn that system off and either have menopause show up early, or maybe there's, I'm just going to turn off the period for a month or two until we accumulate a little more nutrients, and then I'll turn it back on. But this is just Mother Nature's way of not having a woman create a baby when she doesn't have the resources to do so, and then leave the woman with nothing left to function with. Number 15 is gallstones, and this is usually the result of bile not flowing correctly, so that bile stays in the gallbladder, continues to concentrate until it concentrates into stones. And number 16 is seasonal allergies, and 17 is asthma. Now both of these seem to show up most commonly when someone's autonomic nervous system is stuck in a parasympathetic state. And the parasympathetic state is our rest and digest state. So when someone's digestion is not working correctly, sometimes the body will push itself into that parasympathetic rest and digest state as hard as it can just to get digestion to work at all. So in a lot of cases, when you can improve digestion, it helps the person pull them out of that parasympathetic state, and then they don't have those seasonal allergies and asthma anymore. Number 18 is bad breath. Now, if somebody's got dead stuff in their mouth, that can create some bad breath, but a lot of bad breath comes from food in the stomach rotting and fermenting because it was not acidified and broken down correctly. So that rotting and fermenting creates all this toxic gook, and it comes back up and, hey, why don't you chew a piece of mint or something? And number 19 is weight gain. So when that food is not being broken down, not only do we not get the nutrients out of it, it has to rot and ferment to break down at all, and then we're left over with all this gook that the body has to try and figure out how to deal with. A lot of that can get shoved in fat cells, and then the fat cells expand, and then our pants don't fit. And also, if we're not getting the nutrients out of that food, it makes us want to eat more stuff, and maybe a person's eating too much junk just because they can't get the nutrients out of the food that they are eating. And sign number 20 of poor digestion is veganism. And this isn't really true, that's not really a sign, but if somebody's a vegan or a vegetarian because they don't want to eat something with a face, or they just have religious reasons, they don't want to kill animals, all that kind of stuff, that's one thing. But if someone gravitates towards being a vegan or a vegetarian because they really feel lousy when they eat meat, then a lot of times that's because they don't have the HCl to break that food down. They don't have the ability to acidify that protein, and they feel really lousy when they eat it, so then they become a vegan like, oh, I feel so much better. So a lot of times if they can just fix their digestion, it would allow them to eat that animal protein and do okay with it. So again, veganism isn't really a sign of poor digestion. You just see a lot of vegans go that direction because of poor digestion, and I just wanted to see who was going to yell at me if I said that. But you can see there's a wide variety of issues that can give you indication that maybe digestion isn't working correctly. So if you need to check this out further, my book, Kick Your Fat in the Nuts, chapters 3 and 4, walk you through figuring out, is there aspects of digestion that are not working correctly? And if so, what steps will help you correct those? And the book is available on Amazon, but I'm going to put a link in the description below where you can get the whole thing totally for free. And if you hate to read, we also have a totally free digestion course that'll walk you through those same steps, and we'll put the link to that free course in the description below. Just remember, I kind of ripped through all these topics really quick, but if you want to learn more about any of those topics and the other underlying causes of those issues, just check in the description below. I just made a list of all those topics and put links to where you can learn more about each one. For now, if some of these signs sounded a little bit familiar and you want to check out, hey, maybe my bile's not flowing, go over and watch our video on 5 steps to improve bile flow so you can get those steps in motion and get that bile flowing a little bit better. I can't wait to hear about your results.